Right off the bat, who owns Georgia versus the world? Engin invested any money directly or indirectly?
Sorry, Matt.
How can he know that? How can he know? Already, the logo and the name has a striking amount of similarities to East versus West. About the pay-per-view price, people are asking, would it be less than $20? Would it be around $10? Is it not the case that when Engin was at East versus West, he would not have allowed? Biggest thing that surprised me is that you're planning to go outside of Georgia. Let's talk about the timing of Georgia versus the world. We can't get away from the fact that this has been created when East versus West went into turmoil. Right off the bat, who owns Georgia versus the world?
But me and him, we are actually partners in this organization. I also own it at some point. And there is some other people also involved from Georgia, which are not at presence right now. Mainly, it is two of us, Genadi and I. He is the owner. Yeah.
So you're a part owner as well?
Yes, I am. Absolutely no one outside of Georgia is involved in any shape or form in this organization. It is me and Genadi, 50-50 shareholders of this organization.
50, yeah.
I just want to make it clear out there. It is Genadi and I. He is the owner, CEO, if you presume. And also he mentioned that there are obviously the sponsors that are also having their own interest. It's just typical business part. But when it comes to the answering your question, who is the owner, it's Genadi and I am.
Is there anybody else that's an owner from outside of Georgia who has any type of stakeholding in the business?
No.
Has Engin invested any money directly or indirectly to GVW? And if not, will he be an employee? Where's it gone? Will he be an employee or paid subcontractor basis by this new promotion? So it's basically, has Engin had any involvement, or is there any plans for him to be involved in any capacity whatsoever?
The answer is negative. Definitely, Engin has never, ever put any type of investment in our organization. And he will definitely not be considered to be any employee, at least for now. This is our stable, solid decision. He is not involved with us whatsoever. Genadi is kind of confused and he's asking where did this question come from? And then he also kind of said that possibly because people know that me and Engin are good friends, and possibly because of the timing of this organization being organized. Maybe that's why this question was influenced to be asked. But for sure, Genadi said for sure Engin has nothing to do with us. He hasn't invested anything, which I also confirm as well as a co-owner of the organization.
Genadi is under contract at the moment with East versus West. Is he still under contract with them from his point of view? And why has he left East versus West if he officially has?
Yes, he does have a contract at East versus West as an athlete, and therefore he respects that, and he's not gonna pull even in his own organization or any other organization as long as he's contracted by East versus West. If East versus West calls, that's only gonna be at East versus West stage as long as he is East versus West contract. He definitely not coming against or in any shape or form legally against to this contract that he does have with East versus West.
How much longer has he got on his contract?
Less than a year.
Okay. Who is the matchmaker or matchmakers for Georgia versus the world?
It is Genadi and I, only us, who is making these decisions. We also already have planned to go outside of Georgia. This is not going to be only Georgia, within the Georgia as a location. And the next event is going to be outside of Georgia, and it's already talks about it. We have dates, 2 dates, needs to be finalized. That only Georgians will be pulling only other country pullers. We will have Georgians pulling others, foreign arm wrestlers, elite levels, but we will also have between foreign and elite arm wrestlers the matches, just like East versus West did, and King of the Tables, and many other leagues. There are others also.
One is, in future, if Engin expresses a desire to come on board, are you open to having him? Genadi said he considers him a good friend, and they've had a lot of work together, positive in the past. He's got a lot of experience, of course, in a league. Are you open to that in future? Is that something you're considering, or is it off the table?
Our organization will be welcoming Engin if he wishes to be at some point any type of help when it comes to the as an employee or something. But right now we don't see such a thing from Engin, and we don't know. Genadi said also he has no idea what happened, what went wrong. Was it Engin's mistake? Was it Engin's mistrust? Was it somebody else's mistake or mistrust? He doesn't really know exactly what caused from Engin to be diverted from his own league. We everybody know how Engin started, where he started from, and how small it was, and how huge and successful organization he turned it into. It was it was worth to mention. However, Engin is not there at East versus West. In Genadi's opinion, to which I at some point agree, it is more loss than a win for East versus West organization not to have Engin at all. At least at some point, Engin should have been involved. And in Genadi's opinion, East versus West and Engin, it was the same thing. It was like same concept. He could not fathom East versus West without Engin, because he created it and he turned it into the successful league as it was.
Let's get straight into an issue fans had, which is the branding of Georgia versus the world. The logo and the name has a striking amount of similarities to East versus West. A lot of people believe it's a complete copy and knockoff of East versus West. To me, it also looked like it was something way too similar, and it would have been much better to create something unique. How did that come about? And do you guys not believe that it looks like a kind of rip-off of East versus West?
Like, don't you guys see also similarity with the UFC? They are also different colors than East versus West, and also he said that it resembles at some point to East versus West, but it also shares some similarities with UFC. What I would like to say that the idea, like design, was heavily influenced by me, as the guy who has some background with the working with the graphics and also editing and stuff. It says GVW as the Georgian versus world. It makes sense. The way it's written is definitely, colors are different. The style is somewhat different. I would say the similarity that biggest similarity to East versus West that it has is the three letters and the below sports. The inspiration came from the idea that me and Genadi have. It's a long-term idea. We are willing to go beyond arm wrestling. It's just in general sport. I'm not sure if the idea was the same when, respectfully, Robert Baxter designed EVW Sports design and branding and name.
But you can tell me in all good faith you don't think it is very similar to East versus West, or it was highly kind of inspired by that. I mean, you can answer this yourself. I mean, I'll be honest, to me, I thought it was a complete kind of rip from East versus West's logo, and I didn't get why you wanted to make it so similar. I thought, for business-wise, it would be smarter to have something more dissimilar, something more unique.
There is the company named Leader Sport in our country, and it's way older than East versus West, like EVW Sports. And their logo, I would say our logo resembles them more than it does to EVW Sports.
Let's talk about the timing of Georgia versus the world. We can't get away from the fact that this has been created when East versus West went into turmoil. And it went into turmoil because 27 Eastern athletes went on a boycott. So the first question is, when was the idea of Georgia versus the world ever came about for you or Genadi in the first place? Was it at that time, before that? And did you decide to begin it at this point in time because it was an opportune moment when East versus West was in trouble? Because the timing obviously was when they're at the most vulnerable. Is that part of the plan to begin it?
Excellent question. He always wanted to have this organization, had some type of arm wrestling promotion within Georgia to put Georgians forward and upwards in their rankings and the popularity in terms of worldwide. And this idea of creating Georgia versus World came not by. It was just a coincidence. It did not have anything to do with East versus West being breaking up or something. This idea has always been in his mind. It happened so that I shared the same at some point, same idea, and that's why I got contacted to him and said that I would love to be a help. And obviously, me and Genadi have a history of helping sports together. Me also helping Genadi as well, and we were kind of instantly on the same page. And within a short amount of time, we started to release our dreams. We as an organization are not gonna prohibit athletes who are pulling at us to go and pull in other organizations. We are strongly against it because that would harm the sport more than it would do a good. We are not gonna say the names. Are contacting the athletes who are pulling and confirmed to pull at our first event and trying to I would not say jeopardize, neither did Genadi say it, but they are kind of trying to directly or indirectly make it so that athletes will not pull at this set event in October. And neither I nor Genadi appreciates that from other leagues. He didn't say that it's only one major league. There are several who are trying to, make it like hard for us.
Is it not the case that when Engin was at East versus West, he would not have allowed this to have started up? If Genadi had done so, there would have been a big falling out between them. Does Genadi not concede that's the case, or did he talk about it with Engin when Engin was the owner of East versus West, and Engin said, "Yeah, if you go for it, good on you"? Because I believe, and most of the fans believe, that if Engin was still the owner of East versus West, this never would have happened because Engin would have gone absolutely nuts.
Engin wouldn't be saying, would not be strictly against it because they share a good friendship between each other throughout the years. He also remembers when East versus West was starting as a baby, so to say, and Engin found some financial necessity and financial like backup to make it happen. Genadi was all for it. He even said that he would just pull there for free to put his own stone in the popularity of this arm wrestling to build up. Of course, he got paid according to him, but he showed the support to Engin from the very beginning, and even before that one, they share the long friendship. And he said that no, Matt, Engin wouldn't have been against it, but we would for sure be talking about it a lot and making it so that both organizations are towards to the same condition and same aim.
Genadi said if Engin was the owner of East versus West, he believes that this would have happened anyway. They would have worked closely together to make sure everything was in harmony. Why has that relationship not transpired between the new owners of East versus West and you guys? Where is the breakdown?
What a great question. We kind of try to avoid mentioning them directly, but with this very important question that you brought up, we are kind of still, like in a good way, forced to answer it, and we don't have a problem with it. Imagine this. This is what's happening right now, Matt. This is for you because you are very genuinely concerned about that question. This is the case. We are doing this organization. We are not contacting any contracted athletes, not only with East versus West, but any other leagues. There are not only East versus West, there are many other leagues, couple big ones as well. So athletes that are pulling at us are not contracted, and they were not getting chances to pull either. So we are doing this in the sake of them, sake of arm wrestlers, to get chances to have very high level and good professional matches, and hopefully the event will turn out to be a good matches, not only just a good show. And the thing is, unfortunately, we did not want to say this, but we are gonna say this. If it's not directly Robert or Dexter, these are the names he said. I'm just translating now. They are somebody responsible from that organization is constantly contacting to the athletes that are not under their contracts and that are already set to pull at our organization and at our event, and they are trying to convince them not to pull there, or at least trying to get them contracted soon enough so that it would be legal issue to pull with us. So it's kind of bad sign from them towards us. Like, we did not mention them, but now we are mentioning because this is what's happening.
Okay, so the contracts aren't match by match. Contracts can be 6 months, a year, 2 years that you're planning to give out, yeah?
It could be match by match, could be like per event, like I believe King of the Tables used to do at the beginning of times.
Could be long
but
term.
could be also long term. But either way, athletes will not be, from our point, restricted to pull in other leagues.
Okay, but that's okay. That's a bit of news. So we're going to see contracts at GVW and East versus West. But at the moment, your plan
as long
is
as
to have a
East versus
non-compete.
West, as long as not only East versus West, but as long as any other league don't make our contracted athletes who will be able to pull everywhere, as long as the other leagues don't prohibit with their own contracts, then in that case there could be both contracted. Sorry, I could not really understand.
Those other organizations, it doesn't matter who, let's call it League Red, if they contract an athlete to only pull in their league, does that mean you guys would also have to go back and do the same thing with your athletes, try to contract them solely to your league?
Whilst those very athletes will be also simultaneously contracted by us, right? That was the question. Initially, Matt, it would come down to the athletes themselves, whichever they choose and please to pull and wherever they wish. In the case where they will be contracted with us, there will be individually fit contracts per athlete, and there will not be just only like a fixed and flat contract for everybody. It will be individual one. And of course, if athletes choose to pull at East versus West, in this case, we are talking about East versus West, we will not prohibit them to pull there. However, our athlete, as they go there and perform there, they will perform very well, and they will be also financially supported from us in the long run, because we're gonna be focusing on giving them financial solidity so that they can take care of their preparation fully. And if they are happy to pull their other leagues, in this case East versus West, we would not wish athletes to pull with us who are kind of forced or contracted, restrained. Let me explain. We cannot, we would obviously welcome everybody, but if the athletes are contracted and forced to not to pull outside of very specific league, in this case East versus West, then we are not gonna try to mischief or try to kind of persuade them to pull with us, because like I said, it comes down to the athletes themselves. If they feel that they are welcomed at our organization and they are treated well.
Why did Genadi be part of the boycott? If he was be part of the boycott of the 27 athletes, was it out of loyalty to Engin, or it was another problem he had with East versus West? And what's his opinion of the athletes that have gone back there? Does he think they're right, or that they should have stuck their boycott out?
He personally knows athletes who, according to their contracts, should supposed to have 4 matches per year, and there is no way that they will get 4 done. For example, let's say they have only 1 have had throughout the year, or 2, and like physically they can't have their contracts fulfilled. And he advises to organization East versus West that if they are contracting the athletes and they are not liking when athletes are unsatisfied and boycotting the league and trying to get answers from the league, that very organization should be respecting the contract that they have towards athletes. So, sorry, Matt.
How can he know that? How can he know? It already didn't happen under Engin's rule, or he predicts it won't happen? I don't understand how he can know.
You are talking about the amount of matches, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's relatively easy to seek out and find the answers to that question individually to the athletes, because it is easy to find out who is capable of having enough matches throughout the year and who's not. Genadi respects the approach of other strong men, let's say, other than arm wrestlers, like other popular influencers, vloggers, or just other sport athletes to participate. Yeah, he mentioned Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, and yeah, he respects that approach to have other way influential athletes to compete at arm wrestling and like somewhat promote the arm wrestling as a sport in general. But he is confused with a very simple fact. How come that organization who claims he wants the very best for the arm wrestlers is paying more attention and financial way as well to non-arm wrestler guys in the first prioritized way? He, as if he was like, if he was doing the same, he would find it nonsensical, because you cannot claim that you are doing you are having a best relationship with your own contracted athletes, or not even contracted, just athletes who are pulling under your organization, and you cannot claim that you are sharing their best interest whilst you are having, first of all, satisfied the non-arm wrestlers.
I understand that from like a purist point of view, but two things on that. You guys have announced Akimbo, who is more of a influencer type guy than a pure arm wrestler. That's one thing. Is that not a slight contradiction to what you're saying? And also, does it just not make sense anyway as businessmen to have high profile people mixed in with purist arm wrestlers to grow the business, to help bring money, which the money then is for all the guys competing? Is that not sensible business?
Matt, he said that Akimbo is, first of all, he's arm wrestler, if anything, and then he may be a vlogger or influencer. He is not a strongman. He is not a boxer. He is not following any other sport. He is arm wrestler. He has beaten many good professional and famous professional athletes, and we are just giving him a chance because he promised us that he has upgraded, and now he's pulling at 85 kg, and we would love to see him versus Samushia left hand, because Samushia is also not that popular on left hand, left arm.
So you picked him based on ability, yeah? On arm wrestling ability.
Arm wrestling ability and background as well, Matt. He's not a strongman or boxer. He's, first of all, more of the arm wrestling athlete rather than any other sports athlete.
So let me give you a different example. Let's take friends of mine, Hafjo Bjornsson, if maybe you know him, yeah, strongman. Let's say Eddie Hall. If I said to you, okay, I've got these two guys, I can win your event, no problem, we'll get them there. You understand they're going to generate lots of money, potentially. Would you not want them to help your overall card? So if they bring in an extra $50,000 revenue, that could be an extra $2,000-3,000 for every other athlete on the card. Is that a bad thing?
For sure not. But I would like obvious fact that the sheer amount of views and possibly also pay-per-view like financial gain of the organization's perspective would be a benefit overall, and will be obviously welcomed from us as an organization. However, if we going to let them pull, we would strongly and like in a clear out way will state that this is purely for the show. This is for the sake of the making arm wrestling show in this very specific event when they pull. Otherwise, if we want them to recognize as the athletes, first of all, we need to see them beating like professional arm wrestler athlete.
Engin was still at East versus West. You would have worked closely with him to make sure there was no problems between Georgia versus the world. It's the fact that he's gone, and it's clear there's been some breakdown now of relationship between you guys. I know you talked about them perhaps suggesting to athletes it was better not to come and pull Georgia versus the world. Do you see any way to repair this relationship? Because you said initially you were hoping to work in harmony with East versus West.
Of course.
Do you see a fix to that? Is there any way, or do you feel that it's at a point now where it's in effect competition?
No. We, if anything, we all love this sport. That's the genuine reason why we are starting this organization. Of course, we will wish the best for any other organization, specifically East versus West right now, but we are not welcoming such a manner of approach when they are trying to directly or indirectly jeopardize our event, because we are not using contracted athletes. When I say using, I'm saying that using as in making the match against the other athlete. I will translate this one to Genadi, but before I do that, I will share my own opinion as the co-owner of the organization. We are very welcome with East versus West and any other league to cooperate, work with each other. Just like Genadi said, had Engin been still there and we made this organization, we would work some things out. So we are gonna welcome and try to do the same with Robert. We definitely are trying to solve this current situation as positively and as civil way as possible, even though we have seen some negative signs from their side. The tiny detail that I wanted to ask first to Genadi is that we already, prior to this live stream that we went publicly today, we have in privately already approached to Robert and asked him about these very specific actions that we believe East versus West EVW Sports has taken against our organization or our event on October. And we did try and are still in contact and trying to, in a best way possible, cohabitate and correlate with each other, so that we can coordinate and we don't create the chaos, even bigger chaos as it is right now. We are trying to do best for the sports. That's why I will remind everybody who is maybe just joined your live stream, Matt. We are doing this for athletes to have chances to pull. We know, I have seen your video, Matt, and I know that you would love to see professional athletes, good matches, and arm wrestling sports to progress. I've seen the video and I liked your opinion very much, and I share the same thing. Engin would directly message to Genadi. This is Genadi's words. I'm just translating. Engin, as a friend of Genadi and as a man first, would ask directly from the answer, would demand some answers, would ask the questions to get some answers from Genadi. What's the reason behind it and what is going on, rather than what we see on the other side in the current rulership, that they are going sideways. They are trying to approach the athletes, trying to convince them not to pull with us. We do not appreciate that move, but still that doesn't mean that we are not willing to cooperate and cohabitate with each other.
Tell me, guys, about WAF. What's the situation there in Georgia, and how does it affect Georgia versus the world?
Well, currently we have good conditions when it comes to the WAF in Georgia and Georgia versus World as a private organization. We are not requesting any type of financial aid from the government as the federation would have done. So that's why we are not coming in a crossing paths with the federation of Georgian Arm Wrestling Federation we are talking about. We are obviously gonna welcome if there is any type of support from the WAF, of course, but we are not just like asking them to just support us. But one thing I will add, I will personally add, is that we are making sure to honor a WAF federation, and just like East versus West has been doing, we will be not going against WAF conditions when it comes to the let's say having athletes who are who've been doping positive tested, having athletes who are in the IFA under IFA organization. So, such a basic stuff that would come in the crossing path in a wrong way to the
It's a
WAF.
ban. WAF athletes are banned from Georgia
Yeah.
versus World.
Yeah. So we are following in the path that would not come across and against to WAF.
Okay. Are there any other athletes that are banned or blacklisted from Georgia versus the World outside of WAF rules? Just that you guys, for whatever reason, have blacklisted from Georgia versus the World.
Are you asking if we have blocked any athlete? No, we haven't.
I appreciate it's a business. Is this a pay-per-view model, or is this a sponsorship or outside private funding model? And how much is the pay-per-view going to be if there is a pay-per-view?
We're still going under discussion, that part. Also, not only pay-per-view, but also the ticket prices. We are having the great, huge venue that needs to be in details. It should be confirmed tomorrow already. And by the end of this week, we should be already selling tickets as well. Like Genadi talked about a lot, like the style, our conditions, what it was. We have a hexagon, like there's octagon at UFC. We have a hexagon on which there will be this table, arm wrestling table with the referees and many other details.
At the moment, you can't talk about the pay-per-view price. People are asking, would it be less than $20? Would it be around $10? Can you give any indication? Or
I appreciate the interest of the people. As you already stated, it's going to be less than 20. But as it gets closer to 20, obviously the production will be highest standards possible. We are going to go through every detail as the time goes on. Specifically this week, Genadi are going to approach to the responsible party that will be responsible for lighting and like this sound system and this technical type of part of this production. Yes, they are his friends. He has good connections. Basically, he has connections everywhere.
Pay-per-view model, tell me, every organization that starts, normally it's very difficult at the beginning to get going, people to find, to buy. Have you got a sustainable business here where if the pay-per-views don't cover your costs the first time, you have enough in financial backers or sponsors? Or are you relying on the pay-per-view, and if the pay-per-view doesn't sell enough, that's you done?
Very good question. I would answer that we definitely have enough financial background. Genadi's sponsors and partners are having no issues with being publicly. What can I say? He said that sponsors are not having any problems to be shown publicly to the audience that they are sponsors. And he said that maybe he was kind of joking right there. He said that maybe she will be mad at me, but it's my sister. That's what Genadi said. His sister has a big company. And
I would say what I always call the big four in arm wrestling: Levan, Devon, Ermes, Vitaly, in terms of pay-per-view pools. Can you tell me if you've had any conversations with those guys? Levan being the most obvious one because he's a fellow Georgian and he's world number one. Has there been any discussion about him competing there now in the future or being involved in some way?
He cannot speak too much on Levan's behalf, but as far as Genadi is concerned, he knows that Levan is very, very patriotic person, and he would have pulled if he was Levan. He would definitely pull in this organization. But he mentioned after the contract is done, because Levan is capable. Now this is me adding. I believe Levan is capable enough to have free. Like, let's say he have a contract that doesn't prohibit him to pull like wherever a contractor wants him to pull. I think Levan is capable to have a specific contract that would fit his own needs. Genadi would not put Levan in the awkward sense type of condition where even though Levan is not willing to pull at the very specific moment, in theory, Genadi would not put him in the condition of kind of awkwardly saying that, hey, come on, just pull at least once. Because they are good friends, of course, but he wishes...
so he'll wait till his contract expires.
Yes,
and then those.
Yes, of course. We also respect the contract.
Big talking point in arm wrestling is rules. Genadi's just been pulling East versus West and King of the Table. What are the rules, the main ones that he's decided needs changing for Georgia versus the World, or will it be exactly the same as East versus West?
There will be mainly WAF rules, but a bit more loosen the option of it. but we are not gonna go as far as like letting guys to hang on the table like with their sheer weight, or drop down, or put the elbows like too many times, something like too loose one. We're gonna have to go through this, but it will be WAF rules. Also, referees will be not as strict as there, and will be also kind of trying to loosen up and don't give micro fouls as a fouls. A specific one that we don't want to see as a micro foul being called, we will let that slide, right? So there will be a WAF rules, but loosened version of it. And also, he mentioned a couple times Jerry Cador's name there and stuff. He was talking about how he was kind of confused when he was pulling Jerry, where he was seeing Jerry's elbow was on Gennadi's pad, basically. It's something that he sees it was that way. He just let it as an example there. Such a thing he would not wish to see for the other arm wrestlers in our organization. So
will the rules be written anywhere publicly
for sure, we will have our website where the rules will be written. But is there any major question that comes right into your mind that we have discussed and helped you to understand better, or perhaps even changed your mind?
Well, the biggest thing that surprised me is that you're planning to go outside of Georgia. I assumed it would always be something there. No, but otherwise, I didn't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I didn't know that you had contracts. I understand they're not exclusive, but I didn't know that. But from my point of view, I'm waiting to see proof of concept, because at the moment you're saying something, the venue's just about decided, pay-per-view is just about decided price. As always, that proof is in the pudding. So I will judge you, and I will judge you honestly for the good or the bad once I've seen what you produce. I think that's the only fair way to do it.
Yeah, good point. Well, that answered my question.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you both for coming on, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Take care.